What the Tech is sponsored by Shutterstock.com. With over 35 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips. For 20% off your new account, go to Shutterstock.com and use offer code WhatTheTech414.
What the Tech?
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by Paul Thurrott from WinSupersite.com, Mr. Windows Phone, Windows 8, everything that has to do with Windows himself. How you doing, Paul?
I am amazing, Andrew.
Are you? I bet the last couple days. I
always feel like I should be better than I am when you ask. I feel bad that I'm great.
I was on Tom Merritt's show yesterday, Daily Tech News Show. And he's like, "Hey, how you doing, Andrew?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Doing okay.
You know, I'm here.
I'm doing all right. I mean, everything could be better.
Sure. I don't have cancer that I know of.
Yeah, I just came back from Vegas. I'm a little bloated, but it's all right. Everything's doing okay. I just paid the mortgage. That's my answer to everything. I'm never great.
Right.
I'm never the best. Like I'm just okay. Take it or leave it.
A brief moment of this the other day. I went for a walk a couple of days ago, and it was like 72 degrees outside finally. And I was like, you know what? This is good right here. But I don't often have those moments where it's like, right now, good.
The last couple of weeks we were off, actually. Our schedule was really wacky. Paul was at Build, and I was at the NAB show, NAB show, the big broadcasters conference that's held every year in Vegas. I was there from Friday to Tuesday, so I missed Tuesday's show. I have to tell you, I was at the conference for literally 4 hours. At most 4 hours.
Did you go to, was there any stuff there about the Skype thing, the Skype TX?
Yes, and I had a very interesting conversation with them, so we'll talk about that. I forgot to put that in the notes.
Yeah,
we should talk about Paul. That. I am so off today.
That was not a catch. I literally forgot that you told me that, and I just asked it like I had never talked to you before in my life.
That's so funny.
I mean? It's not me being smart. I am just.
Well, I'm giving you the credit of being smart. I'm really whacked out today. I'm a little off. I had a major disaster happen today. My MacBook died. It just totally stopped working, and I got, they don't have a blue screen of death. They have a very, like a screw you. We're not going to tell you what this means error.
Sure.
And so I got this folder with a question mark, and it kept flashing at me. Just telling me, like, hey, you don't know what this means. Try to figure it out. Here you go. Here I am. Here I'm not. Here I am. Here I'm not. So we're going to talk about that problem. But before we do, and we're going to talk about NAB and everything else that's happening, Windows Phone 8.1, I have it here on my Nokia 520. This phone, once again, kicks so much ass because of this update. It is so fast, and I'll talk about it when we're done with our ad. But before we continue, I want to thank our sponsor, and that's Shutterstock. Shutterstock is, we've been talking about Shutterstock for years, and I have to tell you, I do some web design on the side. Suncast in our chat room, he's our web admin. He does a lot of website work. Josh Coleman, another one of our people on GFQ and a viewer of the show, he uses Shutterstock. He's a web designer, and he also does illustrations. He does magazine ads. So these are people that have been constantly using it, and we always like to talk about companies that we actually use at GFQ and everything else that we're doing, and the people around us are using it. So they have a great deal. So what is Shutterstock? Well, Shutterstock has over 35 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, video clips. So any kind of stock image that you're looking for, they have it, and they're adding so many images every single week. I think when we started, it was like 20 million. So in the last 2 years, I want to say they've added about 15 million images. That's insane if you think about it. And they're offering a phenomenal deal for our audience. You get 20% off on a new account by going to Shutterstock.com and you use offer code WhatTheTech414. That's WhatTheTech414. Great stuff. So there are many contributors to Shutterstock, even if you're not using it. Even if you're not finding what you need right now, there's a good chance they're going to have it tomorrow or the following day. They're constantly adding stuff. They have a lot of flexible packages and flexible pricing. You could download up to 25 images a day with a standard subscription, and you could download any size, any image. Once you pay for the image, you could download almost every size that they offer, so it's phenomenal. I'm a big fan of Shutterstock. I've been using them for a long time, and if you're in the web development field, if you're in any kind of imaging type business, this is what you should do. You know what? Also, I'm looking here. They also offer 4D. I'm not too sure what that means. Illustrations, video clips in HD, and now also in 4D. I wonder if they mean 4K. That's possible. That's really cool if it is. Shutterstock.com, offer code WhatTheTech414, and you get 20% off. I want to thank Shutterstock for supporting What the Tech. So, Paul, let's. Where do you want to begin? Let's talk about NAB and let's talk about Skype, because I had a very interesting conversation with the people at Skype.
You did.
I did name drop. Paul Thurrott to them.
Yep. And did they react like a vampire does to sunlight?
Yeah. Actually, they took their shoes off and started throwing it at me. Every one of them. It was. I'm going to be careful with what I say, because there was a lot of stuff that you had to read between the lines. And you had to kind of decode what they were attempting to tell you without telling you, because a lot of this stuff is still very, very early. I don't even think they're ready for beta. They're in the alpha stages. This Skype for broadcasters, Skype TX, it's going to be a hardware-software solution, and that was the exact wording that they used. Hardware-software solution. It's going to support HDSDI in and out, so it's for professional setups. It's going to have, from what I understood, it's going to have multiple packages. So you're going to have multiple versions of this, and they eventually want to be able to support up to 4 Skype instances on this one box. So I'm guessing everybody in the chat room and everybody listening right now is saying, well, why would any broadcaster need this? Why would you pay? Anywhere from, and this is my guess for the price, anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Why would you pay that when you already have a computer? You get to control almost every aspect of Skype: resolution, bitrate, audio codec, video codec. So you're going to be able to control everything when it comes to Skype. And I think in a broadcasting situation like what we do here, Paul, this would be a phenomenal device. Did
you learn anything about, because this is a company that they purchased, right?
This was... That's
where this comes from?
I believe that the company that they purchased, the team worked on this.
Okay, because I can't remember what I
Cat and Mouse? Heard. Cat and Mouse, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like this... I mean, obviously, the problem when Microsoft buys something is they're more stringent about stuff than, say, maybe a smaller company might be. So they'll buy this company, integrate it into everything that they do. It will thus take a lot longer to come to market. But they were talking in a year, right?
Yeah, they were talking beta in 3 months. So I signed up for the beta program, obviously, and they said, well, within 3 months, we're going to contact you and we're going to start sending these boxes out for testing purposes. They're hoping within the next 9 months to release this. They couldn't tell you an exact date, because I don't even think they understand in what scenarios people are going to use this in. And I'll tell you why they don't understand. I had a very interesting conversation with someone, a representative from there, and I was explaining to him everything that is wrong with Skype now. And I even gave this great example from a couple months ago that I told you about, and I think you reported it to them.
Okay.
You may, or I may be making that up. I don't know.
You're not going to believe what Andrew just said.
Yeah. You know what? Or maybe you gave me an email address to somebody. I don't remember. But on the Mac version, of Skype, right? Let's say you're sending me 4:3 video. If I full screen that thing and let it take over my screen, it'll be letterbox. It'll be 4:3. If for whatever reason I want to fit you on that entire screen, I could double click on it and stretch out the video. On Windows, that is not the option.
Right.
On Windows, if you're sending 4:3 and you make it full screen, it stretches out the video. So I had said, well, why don't they make it run like how it is on the Mac? If it's 4:3, let it be 4:3. Give me the option to double click and expand that video. No.
Well, I guarantee you it's because the people that made those two apps are
totally
different teams.
Yeah.
And the Mac guys, knew some API that just does this and it was easy to add, and the Windows guys didn't, or vice versa. It's going to be something like that.
Well, what
it's
the
not
Windows
about
guys did,
consistency of features. It's just proficiency with the underlying system,
Well, what the Windows guys did was, rather than kind of making it the same as the Mac, when you full screen a video that is not 4:3, that is not 69 as 4:3, it'll just crop it and zoom in.
Yep.
So all you get is a giant face, rather than it being 4:3 and you deal with it.
Sure.
So I mean, and I explained that to the guy. He's like, "Wow, that's really weird. Why wouldn't it be the same?" And then I explained all the incompatibilities with capture devices and cameras.
No doubt this was news to him. That doesn't surprise me.
He was shocked when he goes, no.
No, they often are.
Many broadcasters use this. I know many broadcasters that use it. I go, are they doing HD video? And he goes, well, it's 16:9. I go, yeah, but that's not high def. That could be anything. It doesn't matter. I'm like, I can tell you right now, it barely works. And at times it does, at times it doesn't. There's no consistency.
I'm sure in a professional studio they do their own cropping and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's so nutty. Yeah. It's and we deal with that. We go through that entire thing. It's terrifying every time we take a Skype call with somebody because we don't know if their device is going to work.
Right.
And he was shocked to hear this.
Yeah, sure. Doesn't surprise me. It's not just Skype, to be fair, but different product groups at Microsoft, you'll finally arrive at some question where this thing is so patently obvious. Why is it like this? And they'll express confusion about this. No one's ever complained about this before, which is not true, absolutely, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I can't excuse that. I don't know. It's just the way it always is.
So for the consumer. The cool part of this is that a lot of this is going to trickle down to the consumer version of Skype, the free, the standard version. The new Opus codec for audio is going to be unbelievable. They're going to be doing much higher bitrate for video if you have the bandwidth, which is really cool. They're going to be doing some sort of prioritization with the packets. So if let's say you're on Skype and you pull up, you open up Chrome, for example, and you go to YouTube, and all of a sudden the video goes to crap. That's not going to happen because it's going to be able to kind of take over and prioritize the call rather than the video that's playing. So it's going to be able to do a lot of stuff. They just have no idea when it's coming down. They just have not a clue.
All we can tell you is that it will be better in the future.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. So that was my week. That was the coolest thing that I saw. I saw a lot of other like video production stuff that we do. A lot of 8K cameras. Crazy. 8K. 4K and 8K cameras out on the market. A lot of stuff like that. Like switchers, surface switchers for broadcasters. It wasn't, it's an interesting expo because the same exact thing happens here in New York. I forgot the one that I forgot what it's called, but they have it here at the Javits Center every year, and it's the exact same show with the exact same companies. But NAB is the big one, Yeah. So that was my week, and then I ate and I drank a lot. I won a lot of money, and then I lost all of it.
Yep, sounds like a typical Vegas weekend.
Yep, I got really loaded. I had I had a $5 chip left, and I played it 17 on 17. Hit it on the roulette wheel. I left it there, hit it again, hit it a third time. Then I should have been smart enough to cash out because I made a couple $100.
Sure,
but that didn't happen. I lost everything, and that was my week. I came back home broke. So that's what we did. Paul, let's talk about Windows Phone 8.1. I did the update yesterday.
Yep.
Very impressed on the 520. Really fast. Did you update the 520?
I did. Yeah. Actually, remember I told you I was having problems with that. It turns out that my system date and time were incorrect. And so I fixed that.
I had the same problem.
Yeah, stupid.
How did you? Question: Are you in
the way you do it?
Are you in airplane mode?
I was.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, well, you know how to fix it. I don't have to explain that. But anyway, so yeah, once you fix that, it was fine. And the update takes a little while. There's like a prereq, and then you have to, do the actual update. Probably an hour.
Yeah.
But I've updated a lot of my phones. The 520, 8X, a lot of my Lumias. The 1020, the 1520, 920, and I've got a bunch more. I mean, I have an 820 and an whatever that's called, 822 maybe. 720 I got from Europe.
How was the performance on the 720, like on the older devices compared to the newer ones? Did you notice an increase, like with Android, for example, when you update to a newer version on an older device, it kind of gets sluggish?
Well, the way that Microsoft does this is sort of the way that they do migrations on Windows. And so when you upgrade a phone, it actually takes all of your data and apps and kind of shunts them off to the side, blows away the OS, reinstalls, and then applies your settings back, applies the apps back. The apps contain all of your app data, so nothing gets lost there. And just resetting your phone and backing up, restoring from a backup would give you a performance boost. I don't have any way to measure this. I don't notice any change personally. A lot of people have said it seems faster, even a lot faster. And I suspect that is not so much 8.1 as it is just doing that process because you're basically installing it from scratch.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you're seeing the benefit. But I guess what I'm more concerned with is that it doesn't seem perceptibly slower. Because obviously you don't want to get a bunch of new features but have it be wicked slow. It seems okay for the most part. I mean, some of the apps are pretty lousy, like the Xbox Music app is particularly bad from a performance standpoint. But, on the other hand, I appreciate, like on the 520 I use for a media player device. And the one thing I lost was all of the music I downloaded to the device. Actually, I'm not 100% sure that's true now that I'm saying that. I believe that the music, it's upstairs. I can't check it easily. But I think that I will have to re-download music. But it did take my subscribed podcasts and apply them out to the new podcast app, which I thought was really cool. So I didn't have to do that over from scratch. And obviously my collection's there. That's one of the features of Xbox Music. Overall, I thought it went great.
Someone brought up an interesting thing. He goes, it could be a placebo effect. I rarely use this phone. And I honestly could tell you that it is faster and it's performing a little better because I always have problems playing HD video on this thing.
Yeah.
And I was playing HD video and there was no stutter. Every now and then it would stutter before. Now there was nothing.
That's interesting.
So it could be.
Have you tried the more tiles thing?
No, I have not. What should I try?
You should try that right now. So go to settings.
Okay.
The top setting is called Start plus Theme or something. Go to the bottom of that.
The top setting.
Yeah, it should say like Start plus Theme or Start something.
I see ringtones plus sounds and theme.
No. That's just Start plus Theme.
I don't see that.
You sure you have 8.1?
I'm positive I do.
So, because I did this on my own 520.
Extras plus info.
No, it's the top. It's the first one.
No, I don't see that.
Are you sure you have 8.1?
I'm positive. I
Are you sure? Because that would be there. Is it possible you don't?
Is it possible? I am an idiot if I don't.
Well, no, I mean, you could have still blown it away. I mean, that's the thing. Like, let me see. Because there was a prereq update, but that wouldn't have blown the phone away.
No, that wouldn't have. No, everything is blown away on this.
I mean, you can go to the About screen and make sure you have 8.1.
Okay,
the About setting, I should say. Sorry?
I'm an idiot.
You don't have it.
I don't have it.
So I wonder if you just did like a reset.
I did. I probably did. Well, I did blow it away before I installed it.
I bet you just installed the prereq then. But that would explain why it was faster.
Well, that would. I was like, wow, this is really fast.
So I had my daughter grab my 520. So on if you can see that, but yeah, it's kind of, yeah, there we go. It's like you can have like the smaller tiles, even on the really small phones. And I love this little device. It's so cool.
Well, I feel stupid now that I didn't have the update, but it was a lot faster with that update.
It is. Yep.
That update really did change it. So which update was that?
It's probably just the prereq.
Oh,
So if you go into updates now, like I wonder if you have that update available to you now. So like go into phone updates.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, and see if it finds it.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Downloading 2%, so it'll be done by the end of the show.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Takes a while. Well, if you just blew it away and reinstalled, it might not take that long. It takes longer, more depending on how much stuff is on there. Yeah.
But you know what's interesting with the prereq? I'm not getting updates for my apps. So it's not telling me that the app has an update.
Well, see, this actually explains why you weren't seeing that. Remember you asked me about that, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, it will be in the store. The way it works, the way it will work in 8.1 is actually apps will just update for the most part. It'll be like Android. Sometimes in Android, an app requires new permissions and they have to prompt you.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it just does an update. And so the way it will work now is like the store app will say, 2 apps were updated, and it will tell you what apps they are. And it just does it. You don't have to, Windows Phone 8 and earlier, you had to go in and manually install the app updates.
Well, that's a bummer. I can't wait till I get these YouTube messages. You're an idiot, Andrew. You've been talking about how great this thing is, and you didn't even have it.
Right, like I said, though, just resetting it will speed it up. A lot of, it's like any other technology, it bogs down.
Well, it's been very fast and very impressive. But I'm wondering if there was a bug with the video that they patched somewhere, because this thing's been sitting in my drawer.
How are you playing it?
Streaming or downloaded, whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't usually play video on this, so I listen to podcasts on this when I fly. I'll bring it for music and podcasts. I use it like an MP3 player.
Let me ask you this, Paul, because the tech bloggers have made this into, once again, this is it. Now it's usable. Now Windows Phone is
I hate
usable.
when people say stuff like
that.
that.
This is changing the game for them. Before it was a piece of crap, and now it is the best.
That's not fair, and nor is it true. But I will say that anyone who's ever used a modern version of iOS or Android for a while now and has used a notification center understands why that kind of feature is so important. Windows Phone, I've often said, Windows Phone isn't just different, it's better across the board. That's kind of a general statement, and it's true. It's always been true, but the fact is in certain specifics, it's not always been true. And so they went the different route with notifications, and the way they do notifications or had done notifications in Windows Phone was that, they have live tiles, and live tiles can give you notifications that go far beyond what you can see on icons and other systems. They have banner notifications. They have different ways, obviously they have pop-up reminders and things like that. But as the system grew, obviously that system's not as, it doesn't work as well. And you may have so many apps on your phone that the apps that are trying to notify you either aren't on that top part of the screen where you can see them, or they're not on your start screen at all. In which case it won't matter if they're notifying you because you'll never see that thing. And so I think the reality is over time, as these things get more capable and complex, and you look at what the other systems are doing, and you realize a notification center is absolutely necessary. And so that's, I think, the one. It's funny because I actually think it's let me be careful about this. I want to say it's the single best new feature in Windows Phone 8.1. In the sense that it will impact the broadest number of people most of the time, all day long. And it's absolutely something that should have been in there before, and it is absolutely something that was in other mobile systems first. And so this is an example of a case where Windows Phone really was behind, but that's not broadly, not generally. This notification center called Action Center. Doesn't change the way Windows Phone works per se. It's obviously a nice addition, but the rest of the system still works as it did before.
What's fascinating is that even with the iOS stuff, when iOS 6 came out, iOS 7 came out, the with every iOS version, even with the last one that was so different than everything else that they've done, it didn't receive this, wow, this is a game changer. I don't feel that it got that from a lot of the media where people, they commented that it looks different, but nobody said like, wow, you know what, they're overtaking Android now. You'll be stupid to buy anything else. And I'm seeing that with the Windows Phone stuff. And, you know, to me, it's more of for Windows, it's more of a saturation thing because they have worldwide. What percentage do you think is the number worldwide? I mean, it's not that low.
For a Windows Phone?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's low. It's like 4%.
It's like 4%.
But it depends on what markets you're talking about. You know, certain markets, they have double-digit market share. Certain markets, they're beating iPhone. And it's places in Western Europe. It's places in South and Central America. It's places in Asia.
But it went up from 5%. Over the last year, there's been a major gain in numbers for them.
Yeah, yes. But, you know, as I would have said in the past about things like the Mac or, you know, some other kind of minority platform, it's easy to grow when you're small, you know. And so Windows Phone in 2013 saw almost a doubling of its market share, which is crazy. You can't double market share when you own 80% of the market, and you could, but you wouldn't double market share if you owned like 18 or 20% either. The potential for growth goes down dramatically as you get bigger and bigger. But yeah, they've absolutely grown. I mean, it's, you know, we'll see. I don't know what to say about, you know, will they ever overtake iOS generally speaking? I mean, that's kind of a long shot, but I think they've established themselves as a credible number 3.
I mean, could you see them taking 20%, 30% of the market?
Yeah. And honestly, though, the way that happens is a little convoluted because today we kind of think of these things in very finite terms. You know, PCs are PCs and PCs fight Mac. And then we have tablets, and, you know, tablets are tablets, and iPads are tablet, and these other things are tablets, and, you know, phones are phones, and these things are all kind of different, but they're bleeding into each other. And so we have like mini tablets, we have gigantic phones that are really like small tablets. We have hybrid devices like PCs that you snap the thing off and it's a tablet.
And even your phone has not become a single use device. I mean, for me, I mean, I don't really use my phone for, you know, I do emails, but I'm not doing any kind of word processing. I don't do any word processing on a tablet. My wife, we were on the plane. I installed Word on her iPad. Right. She was typing away on that thing all flight, 6 hours.
Well, here's something that you could, we'll have to imagine today because it's not yet possible, but it will be possible very soon, which is that you could have a device like a Lumia 1520, which is that giant phablet. 6-inch screen. It's humongous for a phone. Microsoft has created this thing for Windows Phone 8.1 and for Windows 8.1 called Universal Apps. And one of the first major universal apps that we're aware of is this coming version of Microsoft Office. And what that means is that the same exact Office applications will run on Windows and will run on Windows Phone. And that opens up the possibility. It's not technically possible at this moment because Windows Phone 8.1 today does not support the Bluetooth, you know, keyboard profile, but it's Windows, so it very easily could. That your wife could be on the phone with a Nokia 1520 or whatever the next one's called, using a full-featured version of Office, not some Office mobile thing. And it's the same version of Office she might use on her regular computer as well. And that suddenly this becomes the only device she needs to bring.
Yeah, and it becomes a norm too. I mean, that's the whole point of this.
You see how that
cross-platform.
that blurs the lines, right? And that's only one example, but I sort of look at it like, you know, the future for these ecosystems is some division between those three. I think it's, I'm not as pro Microsoft to say, you know, I think it's going to be even, or Microsoft will be even with Apple or something, but it's going to be Android and iOS and Windows. And Windows today is different things to different people and different things on different device types. But I think those lines are going to blur and blur and blur, and you know, we'll see. But a lot of Windows will be on PCs, obviously.
Do you see that happening? And that's the advantage that Microsoft has over Android, because Android really doesn't have that ability to be cross-platform on a PC, you know, on a laptop. They don't have that comfort because they have Chrome. I mean, I guess they do with their web apps and everything becomes cross-platform. But if
they have these pro devices, right? There's Android 12-inch tablets that cost $800, and there's nothing stopping Android from being a kind of laptop type replacement.
Yeah, but the Gmail experience on your phone and the Gmail experience on the tablet and the Gmail experience on your laptop are going to be different.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, Android is also something that runs on an Amazon Kindle. No, it's not a Kindle. An Amazon Fire TV device, right, is Android. There are some benefits to having that platform be the same. You can run Android games on your HDTV now with a hand controller, like a game controller, optionally. There are benefits to that. It's the reason Microsoft made Universal Apps. You write sort of one app. It's not exactly one app, but you write sort of an app that runs across multiple platforms. It's very desirable depending on the app. So I just think these lines blur, and we have these kind of computing platforms. If we're lucky, there will be unified systems that allow developers not to just target Windows and Windows Phone, but Windows and iOS and Android in the same project, same app, kind of thing. And that will make it even better going forward for users. But
who knows?
We're still fighting it out.
There's someone going at it. Do you feel that this is something that Apple needs to do also for the future of their platform? Because there's a distinct separation between desktop and mobile for them.
I don't think they have to. I think the thing that makes more sense for Apple is for them to contort the iPad into a laptop, because the Mac platform, I think, has kind of plateaued as where it's going to go. But more to the point, that is kind of a finite market of its own. Traditional computers. That market is declining. It's going to plateau, but it's going to plateau at this really low rate. Low sales unit.
Yeah.
Where tablets are going to be higher and smartphones are going to be much, much higher. And so rather than let Mac computers run iOS apps or whatever they might do there, what really makes sense is for them to take the thing that's already selling really well and make it better for those people that need the more powerful features. Make it into a pro device with a keyboard and a pointer perhaps, and and just make that the pro device. Because you were talking about iPad Office. I mean, imagine how awesome that could be on a laptop.
Yeah, it's actually really well done. I mean, it's a pretty operating. It's a pretty software. It doesn't look like it was half-assed at all. It looks like full-blown Word, and it works.
What holds it back? So what's holding it back? It only can run full screen because it runs on iOS.
Yeah.
So you can't run it next to something else. You can't run it in a floating window and watch a video and take notes, or have a Skype call and take notes, or be part of a remote meeting and take notes, or whatever it may be that you're doing, like you can in Windows and on the Mac. And so, the Mac, everyone, Macs make a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. I get it, but that business is what it is. It's not, even if Apple, seizes 30% of the PC market, which I don't ever see happening, it's still only going to be 30% of like 250 million units or something. Whereas today they have almost 50% of the tablet market, which is going to be double that or whatever.
Do you think
it makes sense for them to focus?
Do you think on the iPad, like right now, like this is my desktop. I'll show you the desktop, and this is my desktop, and it's like crazy. There's like 500 things open.
Yep, it's the Wild West.
It's like a Turkish bazaar.
Yep. No, they'll never allow that, and and they shouldn't. I don't know. It's not possible to look past a version or two of these things and see how they're going to evolve. You never know. I mean, I suppose anything is possible down the road. I don't know if you saw this video, but Microsoft quickly pulled it. But there was a video of a Microsoft researcher showing some of the things they might be doing, the live tiles in Windows 8 in particular. And if you think about how tiles work on Windows Phone and Windows 8, they have these notifications and the live updates and all that kind of stuff. And if you want more than that, you kind of go into the app. But what if you could just tap on it and have that tile expand in place?
Yeah.
And get more information there without having to go into the app. It's kind of the next logical step. that's where you kind of see the promise of this platform, and you also see the answer to those people who say, why do we call this thing Windows when everything runs full screen? Well, those are Windows.
Just one big
those
one.
tiles are Windows.
Yeah.
They may not be overlapping like you're used to on your desktop. But I'm not actually convinced, and I don't think a lot of people who study productivity are convinced that that's actually an efficient way to work. Which is the other side of this.
Yeah, I guess on a productivity standpoint, you want one window and you want to get the work done, and then you move on to the next project.
Yeah, I mean, we're just used to it. It doesn't mean that it's the best way of doing things. It's kind of like saying, I'm used to horses, so I don't think cars have a future. It doesn't, just because you do something a certain way doesn't mean it's the best way to do it.
It's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting discussion to talk about what the future of these tablets it's going to be. I mean, right now, Samsung is doing a lot of floating windows in their operating system. Their whatever version of Android they're doing. It's still close.
LG has something like this too, by the way.
Yeah, LG's doing it too. Like I have it on my phone. First of all, it's a big piece of crap, so it's awful.
So I have an LG G Pad, which is like an 8-inch tablet, and I actually don't have any need to run anything in a window on Android personally.
Yeah.
I'm okay with full screen one app. I'm reading something in Kindle, I'm watching a movie in Google Play, whatever. I don't care. But it exists, and what this means, obviously, is that the platform will support it. I mean, there's no technical limitation in Android that prevents it from working. Google has not supported it officially in their own, core bit of Android for obvious reasons. But I think something like that could work. Everyone jokes about how people only need 10% of Windows, or people only need 10% of Office, or whatever it is. I mean, those systems clearly are right there.
We're talking about Android, we're talking about Windows Phone, we're talking about iOS, and now we're going to get Amazon getting into the mix. I mean, yeah, it's Android, but not really, because
right.
it's Amazon.
Well, that's the beauty of Android, right?
And they're looking to enter the market soon, within the next couple months, and they're looking to put out I saw some of the specs, and I saw a prototype of the device. It's it's fine for what it is. They're looking to put out 2 models. One
Do you think
entry
that's
level.
what it's really going to look like, though? Or
I hope not.
Is this like when BMW puts cars out in the desert so they can test drive
and it's
them
like covered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hope not, because it's not really. It's
They're
like
not that great.
It looks like a crappy Lumia.
Yeah, it actually really does.
It's like someone saw Lumia once.
Yep.
And said, okay, this is a cool looking phone, and then by memory he drew it out. That's exactly what the phone looks like. But the features look insane. I mean, it's going to have a 13 megapixel camera. It's going to have 3D capability. 3D, it's like how Nintendo 3DS works, where it's going to have 3D. It's also going to have cameras, mini cameras, to kind of figure out what you're looking at on the screen. So this is not a real, it's not going to be this from grandma, like the Kindle. Oh, you buy her a Kindle and she reads her book. This seems like it's going to be a beefy machine. I'm just curious on what kind of penetration they could have in the market when it's already so competitive.
Right.
What do they have to do to say, okay, you know what, we're going to grab 10% market share off the bat? Is that even possible for them?
Oh, I don't know. I have to be honest. I mean, Amazon, I have to be honest, and I'm not sure. Amazon has obviously a lot of visitors to their site and all that kind of stuff, but it's not clear to me that the Kindle Fires or the Kindles even are these worldwide kind of bestsellers. It's not clear that they command more than low double-digit market share in the tablet market today. And so smartphones are a completely different thing. I mean, for the most part, unless you intend to sell it for a couple $100, you have to go through carriers. And I have a trouble imagining them being open to yet another platform, for one thing.
And also, I mean, even if they're doing unsubsidized, you still have to go through the carriers because they have to support what you're putting out.
Yeah.
So,
more and more though. Most of the carriers support some form of bring your own device. Go phone on AT&T or whatever. Like they'll, you can do it. But the market for phone, like for example, the Nexus 5, which is a great device for the most part,
not supported on Verizon.
Not well, but that's just because of the chipset that's in the phone, right? I think.
Well, no, not really, because they could support it. They're choosing not to. They're saying no, we're not gonna support it.
But that's just one phone. I mean, that works. It works. Whatever, you can use it if you want to. I don't think there's a big market for that. I just don't think there's a big market. And so Amazon can put this thing on their website. Maybe they sell it for $200, unsubsidized. That will get some attention. The end of the year, though, what did they sell? I just don't see it being 10%. I just don't. If they're really going to have to set it apart.
If they do unsubsidized, I could see them, $199 unsubsidized, take it wherever you want. Or you know what they could do? Smart. If you have Prime, you could get it for $199 unsubsidized.
Yes.
If for Prime members, now you're locked into two platforms. You're locked into Prime, which is $120,
sure,
or $100, and now you're locked into whatever else.
Well, but Amazon just came out with that Fire TV I was talking about.
Yeah,
that device was expected to be a lot less expensive than it is.
What was the price that people? I think people were saying like it was either going to be free with a Prime membership or it was going to be like $50.
That's $99.
$99.
Yeah, $60 or whatever, or probably $40 for the game controller if that's what you want. I give them some credit for doing
$140.
You can get a Roku for $60. I mean,
and
or
that's
a high-end Roku for $99.
Yeah, and the Roku's still the best platform. You have so many options on there. And
still the best.
I have a Roku in the house. I have it in one of the rooms, and I use it obviously because I know the environment, but it's only a few things that separate these devices. Apple has Fox, or whatever, or ABC. That separates it from everything else.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think some of the things that separate these devices aren't always obvious to people. One of the things that Roku does really well, and Xbox does it too, obviously, but Xbox is a lot more expensive, is cross service search. And so, from a top level search, I could search for a movie, and it will show me it's on Netflix, it's on Hulu Plus, it's on Vudu, whatever the services I have installed. It will actually give me all the options. I mean, I can buy it here, I can buy it here, I can get it on Amazon. Oh, I can get it free on Netflix. I'm already paying for Netflix. That's kind of neat. On the Amazon box, the search only works inside of individual apps. You can search across Amazon properties, obviously, but not across Netflix plus Amazon. And I think the Fire TV is a good example of Amazon differentiating in some interesting ways, like the voice search thing off of voice search only for Amazon, but off of the controller, which is kind of a neat idea. Use it like a little microphone. That's cool. But at the end of this year, do I think that Amazon Fire TV is going to steal any major market share from Apple TV or Roku? No, I don't. And
unless you're in the Amazon ecosystem with Amazon Prime, and I still don't think a lot of people are using it.
There's I don't know, maybe I'm the only one feeling this, but with late devices from Amazon, the HDX tablets are like this. This Fire TV is like this. Getting a little tired of the Amazon thing. A little too in your face about pushing their own UI, pushing their own stuff. It's a little too much. Like it's a little heavy.
But what's interesting about Amazon? That pushing their own UI. And if there's any success to this phone that they're putting out, and who knows if it's going to be successful, it could be a total flop because the market is totally saturated, or they could actually be very dominant in this market because they already have the customers, they already have the website, they could push this thing 24/7 on one of the biggest websites in the world, and if they they price it properly, a lot of people will buy it. But the thing they're doing,
but they've done it with their tablets. They've done it with this thing, and I don't think either one of those things has made an appreciable dent in the universe.
Yeah, I guess you're right in that sense. But
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, I guess that kind of. I'm curious what their market, and they don't release numbers, right, for the Kindles.
No.
Yeah.
No, but we can look at tablet market share things. They're in there. I mean, they're high single digit or very low double digit. But it's, I don't know.
They'll probably talk about distribution, right? They'll say, well, you can't really buy it everywhere. Not every place is carrying it. You can't buy it.
Yeah, but that's not a benefit. That's a, I mean, in other words, we can't, that's an excuse, but that doesn't speak to the eventual success of this thing. And so who knows? I mean, maybe they'll sell them at Best Buy. Maybe they'll sell them at AT&T. I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, it's inherently interesting that they're doing this. They do have their own platform. It's good. Amazon could do a lot to win over people if they just supported Google Play, for example.
Yeah. My God. Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't seem like that's happening. And so, I don't know, like an Android smartphone that doesn't run Google Play. I mean, here's a little heads up. Not an Android smartphone. It doesn't
Amazon,
matter.
yeah.
It's just an Amazon smartphone.
But do you think if they catch on, right? If they gain, let's say, 5% market share, which is tiny, but 5% market share in this market, I think they'll take it. Do you see other OEMs, other manufacturers saying, okay, you know what? The thing that distinguishes what they are doing is the fact that it does not look like Android. It is their own UI. It is their own software. It's very unique and it's totally original. I think we need to take this direction. We've seen it with HTC, but really, it's, again, half-ass. We see it with Samsung, but again, half-ass. It's not their own specific UI that you pick it up and you say, wow, this is really cool. Even if you've never used a Windows phone, you're going to pick this phone up and you're going to say, wow, this looks really, really different.
Well, except that it doesn't look really different from other Windows phones. I mean,
other Windows phones,
that's a little bit of a problem from the perspective of the companies that sell these devices, because obviously what they want to do is differentiate. I mean, in my own experience, and I just got a Samsung phone of my own for the first time. For the first time on Android.
What did you get?
The S5.
How do you like it?
Actually, I have to say it's growing on me. My first reaction was like, but actually, this is a nice device. The stuff that Amazon puts on top of Android is frankly not that different than the stuff that LG puts on top of Android. I'm a little surprised it's not more different, but I think the thing that's important here is that these phones, and HTCs as well, all run Google Play, and that's the big thing you're buying into, or a big chunk of what you're buying into. Because
you're already invested in the ecosystem. If you had an Android phone, I mean, you want to be able to download all those apps again. It kind of sucks if you go over to the Amazon phone and none of these apps are available anymore. It's like going to,
And it's actually kind of shocking once you get into it. I mean, for all the people who complain about the lack of apps on Windows Phone, spend some time looking at the Amazon stuff. Compare. I did this Microsoft. Obviously, I read about Microsoft. The number of Microsoft apps that are available on Android is negligible. I'm sorry, on Amazon. The number that are available on just general Android is very big. It's a nice ecosystem of stuff there. It's a problem.
It's a big problem. I'm trying to see where my update is. By the way, let's see. I got out of the screen and now I don't know where I am. I am at no idea. I'll find out, I guess. I cannot believe I thought I had 8.1. I know Paul wants to call me an idiot. I know he does.
No. Microsoft never prepared me for the fact that there was going to be a prereq download, and I was actually kind of surprised by that. And so when you said that, I was thinking, well, actually, this is a possibility, because that was not something I expected to see happening with the update. So
I've been installing Windows XP on my phone this entire time.
Yeah,
totally.
Well, that would run faster.
It would run faster. I want to talk about the disaster of a morning that I had, and I wonder if that has something to do with my brain being rattled, because the worst thing you want to ever go through is needing your computer and all of a sudden it doesn't turn on.
Yeah.
And I had that happen on my MacBook Pro. But before I do that, I want to take a second to talk about our Patreon campaign. Paul and I have started a Patreon campaign for What the Tech. Right now, we are at $257.52 for each show that we put out. So each week, we're getting $200 and something. We have a bunch of goals set up. I know a lot of people have pledged. One guy pledged like $50 a week, which is insane.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. I don't think you're insane. I just think the price is it's astronomical. But you can donate whatever you want to donate. We have certain levels of donation, and we have certain things that we're going to do. Like if we make, let's say, let me go to my campaign here. If we're going to do think I said something like 5,000 per episode, we will do a monthly giveaway, product giveaway on the show. We'll give away Surface and Xbox One, whatever is hot at that time. We're going to do monthly giveaways if we hit that goal. For 2,500, we're going to have no more ads at all, no more mid rolls during the live show. For $10,000, Paul and I are going on the road. We're coming to your city.
Possibly to your house.
Possibly to your house, because we won't be able to do it anywhere. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We're going to add more pledge goals also. This was really quick when I figured it out. I was in a panic because we needed to get the campaign up in time, and we hadn't done it. Now, we were going to do the bonus show today, but I don't think I'm ready to do that. I think it'll be really crappy if I do that. So rather than doing a bonus show and it's crappy, I want to do something that's good. So that starts next week. So we're not taking your money until we start delivering those bonus shows. So until we start posting it, that's when the money will be deducted from whatever. I think it's once a month it takes it from there. I think, Paul, we had a name, right? For the bonus show.
Yeah. It was what was it? What the
talk?
Yeah.
Somebody suggested it.
Gary. Yeah.
Yeah. To be what the talk, and I thought that was great because that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about what? Who knows? We'll see. So I just wanted to bring up the Patreon campaign. You could go to patreon.com/whatthetech, or it's in the show notes too. So if you're downloading this, via podcast, you'll see it in the show notes. You can click on that, and feel free to give whatever you want to give. What the heck will be the next one? We're just going to keep the what the theme. Just more what this. Just give me more what this. Like what the car will be our car show.
Nice.
What the gear. Who knows? What the version.
What the WW2.
WW2. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. Paul, before we end the show, I want to talk about my ordeal with this MacBook Pro.
Yeah, what happened?
I'm
always so happy to hear about problems with Macs.
Oh, God. I have been getting I/O disk errors for about 2 months now, where Skype just goes away and it says I/O disk error.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, everything just stops. And then I have to do a force shutdown. I go, that's weird. Maybe my SSD's going bad because, I have an older SSD and sometimes they go bad. This morning I'm getting ready for the show. I have everything ready. I'm writing the notes, and all of a sudden my computer just goes black, shuts down. Not good. Try to turn it on, and I get the worst error message ever. You have no idea what it means. It's a flashing folder on a gray screen with a question mark in it. Just flashing at you. Nonstop, just flashing. I go, well, that can't be good. No, nothing flashing with a question mark is ever good. So I try to go into disk utility. I get in. It's crashing. And then all of a sudden, it just does not see any hard drives. Well, it could be two things, right? The logic board could go bad, or the ribbon cable went bad that connects it. The ribbon cable, by the way, they don't do like a regular set of cable. They do some weird stuff where it connects on the board. Like it's like these weird,
because of the size and placement of it or something.
I guess, but it's also Apple and they do weird stuff. Like everything is proprietary, and it's going to be $50 for that cable. So I now am in a panic because is this laptop dead? What do I do? I almost took it and threw it in the garbage. I went and bought a new one, and I was about to give up, and I realized that I could put this in the DVD drive, but the DVD plug is different. I happen to have, from 3.5 years ago, I happen to have a converter, like this mount that you put it in the DVD area, and you could put a hard drive in there, and it has like the adapters for it. What do you know? I do that, and it works. So I still don't know if something burned on the board or if the cable's bad. But the cable's $50. I'm going to order it and see what happened. But this went on for like hours. And I just happened to have it, and it was still in the box. I had never used that thing. But it was a nightmare. But I'll tell you something. This is the second time this has happened on a MacBook Pro for me. On different MacBooks.
Right.
Second time, same exact thing. The one time it was a logic board that burned out, so I at least knew what happened there. And I know another person this happened to about a week ago. Who said they're built well.
Well, they are built well.
They are, but it was a disaster. I mean, it was the worst worst feeling when it's like 11:30 and I still don't have a computer. I would have had to go to, one of my older machines here, and that's not fun to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's like when my tower died.
But this is the thing that sucks. With the newer ones, you can't even open it. You can't open the back. Right. So I wouldn't be able to fix this. I would have to take this to the store, and they would have to do whatever magic that they do.
Sure. Well, they sprinkle it with pixie dust.
Yeah, just float it on top, and then it starts, so everything is fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
That was my disaster of a morning. I should have started the show with that, but I chose not to. I chose to hold off on it. Paul, it's 4 o'clock. It's almost time to leave. My guests are not here, unfortunately. We were going to play Guess Who's in Andrew's Studio, but they are not here, and they're not getting here for another hour. So, game over.
Screw those guys.
Screw those guys. The guy's name that begins with an I and ends with a Z.
Yeah.
I think we're all going out for beer after this.
Good. Tell them I said.
I will. Hey, Paul, anything you want to plug before we wrap it up? Oh, your book. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm compiling, the lists of people who paid us, and so we want to put like a thank you thing in the book, but we should be getting that on Amazon soon. I am going to do an updated version of the Windows Phone book, for 8.1. That will be based on the previous book. That's coming soon. And also working on the new, the Xbox Music book. So
excellent.
It's all out there.
Excellent. I have nothing going on in my life. Nothing at all. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarin, of course, at The Rot on Twitter. Paul also does another podcast called Windows Weekly. It's a phenomenal podcast with Mary Jo Foley and Leah Laporte every Wednesday. Day change. Wednesday at 2 p.m. East. I watch it all the time. It is a great show. And that's it, guys. We'll see you all next week on What the Tech. Good night, everybody.